Bonjour et bienvenue dans cette édition spéciale consacrée à la rentrée parlementaire. Très probablement la dernière session avant les prochaines élections générales. De toute façon, le Parlement dissout automatiquement en novembre 2024. Une dernière session qui s'annonce très chaude et qui pourra probablement marquer par la présentation du dernier budget de l'Alliance mauricienne par le ministre Padeati, le dernier budget 2024-2025. Jagdish Joypal, bonjour.
Bonjour Nawaz, auditeurs et internautes, bonjour.
Donc c'est une session parlementaire qui peut être très suivie et bien sûr pendant les vacances, il y a pas mal de développement politique parmi la révocation du ministre Erdogan. Maintenant, reste à voir comment l'opposition pourra fuir ce hommes et comment la majorité gouvernementale pour réagir.
Oui, certainement, c'est une rentrée parlementaire intense, de besoin de dire, parce que quand nous causons une session, il peut commencer là à partir d'aujourd'hui, fin mars, et il peut durer jusqu'à, en principe, juillet, après rentre en vacances en août. Et si jamais, c'est-à-dire la session pas finie, pour capable une reprise donc en octobre commence à passer et il y a jusqu'à décembre. Mais dans le cas précis, dans ce cas précis comme on peut mentionner la Oise, c'est la dernière session parce que là le gouvernement entame dernier l'année sur mandat de 5 ans. Alors le Parlement pour dissoudre par lui-même le 21 novembre parce que le terme, le mandat de 5 ans, arrive à expiration. Et sa rentrée parlementaire là, oui, des deux côtés de la Chambre, et le gouvernement, la majorité gouvernementale et l'opposition, pour les marque-points, palais des plumes, et certainement, nous pouvons suivre les débats. Alors, qui peut passer à partir d'aujourd'hui, la PNQ, une séance normale, une disability bill, une autre séance encore pour convoquer, et le ministre des Finances prépare le budget, ce qui montrait qu'il donc a sa volonté de faire la présentation un budget du côté du gouvernement. Vote le budget, nous pas encore connaître dans quelle période le budget est capable de présenter, mais en principe avant le 30 juin. Et il y a également une révision salariale qui peut prévoir dans le secteur privé, préparation rapport du PRB pour la fonction publique. Alors donc ça fait partie d'une stratégie calculée, une stratégie électorale côté gouvernement. Et l'opposition, aujourd'hui même, Xavier Duval, pévine avec une question d'importance nationale après les inondations.
Pour la PNQ, Jagdish, le leader d'opposition déjà annonce la couleur avec une PNQ très chaude en perspective. Xavier Duval adresse la première PNQ de cette dernière session parlementaire au ministre Anwar Husnou, PNQ consacrée aux inondations survenues le 15 janvier cette année-là, lors du passage du cyclone Belal, et comment je connais très bien le chaos qui est là. Donc, Xavier Duval, Jagdish, j'ai envie de connaître combien foyers, combien maisons fin inondées, fin affectées, endommagées à travers le pays, avec un focus particulier là pour lui.
Oui, pour lui surtout qui est une zone sinistrée le 15 janvier dernier avec les inondations associées avec le cyclone Belal. Et là, Xavier Duval pédimane une question qui concerne le nombre de foyers affectés dans le pays en général, travaux construction drain à pour lui spécifiquement et qui plan évacuation gouvernement préparé pour la capitale pour lui et surtout après les inondations avec le nombre de véhicules, le nombre de personnes, de citoyens qui finissent sentir menacés pendant sa inondation-là. Et nous besoin faire remarquer que la ministre de la Sécurité sociale, il mentionne un nombre d'environ 3140 familles après les inondations qui fin rapport ban cas qui c'est-à-dire ban dégâts qui sont affectés et les fin mentionne également un chiffre donc indemnisation d'environ 6 milliards de roupies pour sa bonne famille là. Mais Xavier Duval il pose la question parce que dans cette circonscription de Belle-Rose-Catbonne il y a beaucoup d'habitants qui sont affectés par les inondations, mais je n'ai pas aucune compensation. Là, nous pouvons attendre la réponse, les explications du ministre et aussi le plan d'évacuation qu'il fait et qui peut faire pour lui en cas d'une autre situation de grave inondation ou de cyclone.
Et aussi, un regard braqué Jagdish, le speaker de l'Assemblée nationale, Suivez Fokia, l'opposition très sceptique par rapport à un possible changement d'attitude. Je peux dire qu'au contraire, donc, il faut probable qu'ils n'ont pas pour gagner liées pour capable donc accueillir le gouvernement, mais reste à voir comment le speaker pour comporter.
Le speaker il donne le ton quand il fait une recette une question du député Essan Jouman concernant la révocation du ministre Doyal par le Premier ministre. Alors, donc, sa question-là, il est considérée comme étant irrécevable. Également, il y a une question du docteur Faradomir, qui là aussi, et concernant le ministère de la Santé, fin rejeté. Ce qui montrait que l'opposition, c'est vrai, sceptique, pessimiste, dans le sens que le speaker pouvait être très sévère, très rigide, et surtout en cette année de fin de mandat, quand le gouvernement compte beaucoup sur le speaker pour capable, c'est-à-dire au moins contrôle la situation, contrôle les débats, mais nous bien dire que le speaker reste quand même quelqu'un qui finit élu par le Parlement et il est supposé adopter une attitude neutre, indépendante vis-à-vis des deux côtés de la Chambre.
Et il paraît qu'il n'y a quasiment aucune chance pour qu'il l'adjoint de Suivez Fokia, Zaïd Nazourali, le député du ML, gagne la chance pour présider les travaux, surtout après sa dernière sortie publique, quand il ciblait les deux familles qui contrôlent le pouvoir politique depuis l'indépendance et qu'on cause des deux familles, il y a les Ramboulam, mais il y a aussi et surtout les Jugnuts.
Oui, l'attention braquée également sur le député Nazourali, parce qu'avec sa prise de position qu'il prend là, il isole en quelque sorte le mouvement libérateur, ce parti, mais ne pas oublier que le député Nazourali, le député speaker, c'est-à-dire quand le speaker pas là, c'est lui qui remplace et il préside le débat. Mais seulement au cours d'une réunion parlementaire qui finit en lieu hier, comme ça a été la tradition, à la veille de chaque séance parlementaire, comme si le député Nazourali était présent et pas fini n'a aucune attitude hostile envers lui, c'est qui possiblement dans un cadre de campagne électorale, de préparatifs des élections générales, alors pour besoin un petit peu mettre c'est-à-dire le gouvernement, la majorité, les partis, les partenaires dans l'alliance pour besoin capable essayer de composer et pas créer un remous à l'intérieur. Et ensuite, le ML peut continuer à ficeler avec le MSM totalement, malgré la sortie du député Nazourali. Mais seulement dans quel contexte le député Nazourali il fait sa sortie-là, il peut dire que Maurice, c'est un pays qui appartenait à tout le monde, faut des besoins, pas capable d'exclure certaines composantes de la population, et besoin d'un gouvernement qui veillait, qui tout le monde au moins gagne satisfaction. C'est là qu'on fait référence qui deux familles pas capables, donc continuer à être dirige le pays, besoin beaucoup plus de l'esprit d'ouverture.
Le début de la séance sera sans doute marqué par un vibrant hommage à l'ancien député Éric Guimbaud qui finit décédé durant les vacances parlementaires.
Oui, Éric Guimbaud qui finit siège pendant 3 mandats à l'Assemblée nationale, donc comme député de Kirkby Midlands, décédé d'un accident de motocyclette. Et il finit un hommage unanime au cours de ses funérailles. Et là, certainement, c'est à partir... Peut-être c'est ça la première partie de la séance pour ouvert avec hommage qui, généralement, quand un député, un parlementaire décédé, le Parlement rend lui hommage en premier. Et ensuite, nous pouvons bien guetter un petit peu l'attitude du mouvement libérateur vis-à-vis et partenaire de l'unité militante, parce que le ML pas fin réussi à conclure un accord avec le groupe de Steve Obigadou et Alan Ganou, et ils ont donc en porte-à-faux avec avec le mouvement l'unité militante, qui d'ailleurs fait partie du gouvernement, mais chacun possiblement pour continuer dans cette prise de position dans le Parlement vis-à-vis du Premier ministre, de point de l'attitude très conciliante vis-à-vis du Premier ministre, mais seulement partenaire MSM des deux côtés. Je te retrouve dans une situation quelque peu délicate, surtout leader mouvement libérateur Ivan Kolendavelou, pas fin retrouve sur place de ministre, de portefeuille de ministre, malgré qu'il l'ICAC fin faire l'enquête, et l'enquête ne pense qu'on connaît qui n'arrivait, qui finalité, mais seulement comment nous trouver Ivan Kolendavelou, il reste toujours fidèle avec ce partenaire, le MSM.
Et aussi, Jagdish, bien sûr, les regards braqués aussi le leader de House, Pravin Jagnat, parce que c'est lui seul qui détient cette prérogative de décider de la date des élections. C'est un pouvoir exclusif qui le Premier ministre Sénat, dans nous la loi, dans nos constitutions, c'est lui qui décide quand il peut dissoudre le Parlement. Et là, les bons observent aussi, moi, je pense que tout le monde observateur politique pour être le body language et la stratégie de Pravin Jagnat. Donc, il paraît qu'il peut y avoir un budget qui s'annonce très populaire, pour ne pas dire populiste. Et à partir de là, beaucoup d'observateurs pensaient qu'il est capable d'enlever la dissolution du Parlement. Mais quand il connaît que quand le budget passé, il budget compte 3-4 semaines, allons dire un mois,
de
débat, bien vote le budget au Parlement. Si pas vote le budget au Parlement, il peut en force de loi, pas qu'à appliquer une mesure budgétaire, et aussi bien présent ce qu'on appelle le Finance Bill, qui bien passé, et pour un débat le Finance Bill, et là nous avons au moins, moi penser peut-être un mois après la présentation du budget.
Oui, au niveau de la majorité gouvernementale, je vous présente l'image de business as usual. C'est-à-dire le Premier ministre, pas pour montrer aucun signe qu'il est paniqué, il peut préparer l'élection générale, il poil dans la continuité, montrer qu'il y a un projet de loi et dans le budget. Maintenant, le budget, c'est vrai, bien présenté avant juin. Mais en 1983, il y a une crise dans le gouvernement. 11 ministres MMM démissionnés. C'était la première, l'alliance MMM-PSM, premier 60-0. Après que 11 ministres démissionnés, le Parlement pâtissier pendant 8 semaines. Donc, si besoin lève, c'est-à-dire adopter, suivre une trêve parlementaire pour permettre à Niro Jagnat à l'époque de constituer un nouveau parti, le MSM, et finalement, le budget est présenté en octobre. Là, nous pouvons guetter un peu cette année, comment ça peut passer au cours de cette dernière session.
Voilà, le speaker a fait son entrée au sein de l'hémicycle. La séance va débuter.
Honourable members, first welcome back to the National Assembly. Before we proceed with the business of the House today, I have to inform you that Mrs. Prishni Naika Kahania has joined the clerk's table as clerk assistant. Mrs. Naika Kahania joined the judiciary as trainee court officer in May 2009 and was promoted to senior court officer in July 2017. Prior to joining the National Assembly, she held the post of Judicial Research Assistant. She holds a Bachelor of Laws degree from the University of Mauritius. On behalf of the House and in my own name, I extend a warm welcome to Mrs. Naika Kahania and wish her a successful professional career. I now invite Mrs. Naika Kahania to join the table.
Election of the Deputy Chairperson of Committees.
In accordance with the provisions of paragraph 7A of Standing Order 7 of the Standing Orders and Rules of the National Assembly, I move that the Honourable Third Member for Constituency Number 16, Vakwa and Floreal, Mr. Ashley Itu, be elected Deputy Chairperson of Committees.
Second. Any counter proposal? Honourable members, there being no counter proposal, I declare the Honourable Third Member of Constituency Number 16, Vakwa Floreal, Mr. Ashley Itu, elected Deputy Chairperson of Committees of the Assembly, and I extend to him my sincere congratulations. As per tradition, may we wish to say a few words.
Mr. Speaker, sir, it is indeed an honor and a privilege for me to have been elected to serve the Assembly as Deputy Chairman of Committees. I see this opportunity to extend my sincere thanks to the Honorable Prime Minister and Leader of the House for the trust he has placed in me. Mr. Speaker, sir, I assure this august Assembly that I will faithfully discharge the responsibilities bestowed upon me to the best of my abilities. I thank you for your attention.
Announcements. Obituary.
Mr. Speaker, sir, it is with immense sadness that we have learned of the demise of Mr. Eric Joseph Raoul Guimbaud, former Member of Parliament, on Wednesday, 6th of March 2024, at the age of 63. Mr. Eric Guimbaud was born on 23rd of October 1960. He attended the Lycée La Bourdonnais for his primary education. In 1980, he proceeded to South Africa for his secondary education. He left for the United States of America in 1985 to pursue higher studies at the Louisiana State University in Baton Rouge for his BSc in agricultural mechanics. After his graduation in 1987, Mr. Guimbaud took up employment in the sales department of Rogers Limited. He later served as director in several companies, and in August 2014 was appointed as the Chief Executive Officer of the Saint-Aubin Group. Mr. Speaker, sir, Mr. Guimbaud made his first foray in politics in 1996 when he stood as candidate for the municipal elections in Ward 3, QPIP, but was not elected. In the year 2000, Mr. Guimbaud contested the general election in constituency number 17, QPIP and Midlands, under the banner of the MSM-MMM Alliance, and was elected as first member. He was appointed Parliamentary Private Secretary, a post which he held until December 2004. He also served as member of the ICAC's Parliamentary Committee. In 2005, Mr. Guimbaud contested the general election in constituency number 17 under the banner of the MSM-MMM Alliance and was again elected. In 2006, he was designated to serve as member of the ICAC's Parliamentary Committee. He also served as member of the Public Accounts Committee. In 2009, Mr. Guimbaud founded his own political party the Mouvement Mauricien Social-Démocrate, MMSD, and sat as an independent member until March 2010. In May 2010, Mr. Gaimbou ran for the general election in constituency number 17 under the banner of the MMM-UN-MMSD Alliance and was elected as first member. In June 2010, he was nominated to serve on the Public Accounts Committee. Mr. Speaker, sir, Mr. Gaimbou contested the 2014 general election in constituency number 14 under the banner of the MMSD, but was not returned. In 2015, he ran for the municipal elections in Ward number 4 in Cupip under the banner of the MMSD, but was not elected. Mr. Gaimbou also contested the 2019 general election in constituency number 17 under the banner of the MMSD, but was not returned. Subsequently, Mr. Gaimbou continued to serve as CEO of the Saint-Aubin Group until his tragic death on 6th of March 2024. Mr. Speaker, sir, in May 2014, Mr. Eric Gaimbou was conferred the title of Honorary Citizen by the Municipal Council of Cupip for his active participation in social work. Mr. Gaimbou was, on 12th of March 2024, elevated to the rank of Grand Officer of the Order of the Star and Key of the Indian Ocean for his significant contribution in the economic sector. Mr. Speaker, sir, may I request you to kindly direct the acting clerk to convey the deep condolences of the Assembly to the bereaved family, in particular to his wife, Mrs. Virginie Jacqueline Françoise, and to his children.
Leader of the Opposition, would you like to join?
Mr. Speaker, sir, the nation was indeed shocked by the tragic and untimely death of Mr. Eric Gaimbou. I also join the Honourable Prime Minister in requesting you, Mr. Speaker, to direct the acting clerk to convey my deepest condolences and the condolences of the whole opposition to his wife Virginie and his 4 children, Charles, Alizé, Stanislas, and Maxime.
Honourable members, I associate myself with the tribute paid to the memory of late Mr. Eric Joseph Raoul Gaimbou, former Member of Parliament, by the Honourable Prime Minister and the Honourable Leader of Opposition, and I direct the acting clerk to convey the deep condolences of the Assembly to the bereaved family. Thank you. Honourable members, I have a few announcements. My attention has been drawn to a statement made to the media on Saturday by Honourable Armance, the opposition whip, to the effect that he had not yet received, as at Friday last, at 15 hours, the order paper and all other documents pertaining to today's sitting. As honourable members are aware, Cabinet meets on Fridays to decide, amongst other things, the business of the Assembly to be dealt with on ensuing Tuesday's sittings. On receipt of the order paper from Cabinet, the clerk has a duty to ensure that all papers concerning the items, namely questions, motions, and bills, if any, are properly arranged, and in the latter case, more particularly in accordance with Standing Order 54-1 for onward transmission to honourable members. At times, in the case of amendment bills, additional time may be required if there is need to enclose existing legislations to which amendments are being proposed. In the discharge of her responsibilities, the clerk ensures that due care and diligence is exercised before the order paper is transmitted to honorable members and posted on the website of the National Assembly. Finally, I wish to remind honorable members of the provisions of Standing Order 14.1 bestows upon the clerk the responsibility of ensuring that the order paper and related parliamentary documents are transmitted to honorable members within the procedural delay of not less than 3 days before the commencement of the sitting of the Assembly. I have therefore deemed it fit to make this announcement in order to clear any doubt or misunderstanding that there has been undue delay from the office of the clerk following the statement made by the honorable member to the media. I have a second statement. This announcement, secondly, Honorable Juman, Dr. the Honorable Belal, and the Honorable Omir are reported to have stated in the press that their parliamentary questions have been rejected without any communication as to the justification as to why their questions have been disallowed. Honorable members, I wish to reiterate that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 27, admissibility of questions rests with the Speaker. Further, in accordance with the provisions of Standing Order 21.4, when a question has been refused, the matter must be taken by the honorable member privately with the Speaker. The responsibility of seeking clarifications as to the reasons why a parliamentary question has been disallowed by the Speaker rests with the honorable member concerned and not the Speaker or the clerk. Third announcement, lastly, following the appointment of Honorable Navina Ramyad as Minister on 14 February 2024 and her ensuing resignation as Member and Chairperson of the Parliamentary Committee on the Independent Commission Against Corruption and Member of the Public Accounts Committee, and pursuant to the provisions of paragraph 9A of Standing Order 71, I have to inform the House that on 6 March 2024, pursuant to section 59(2) and 3 of the Prevention of Corruption Act, the Honorable Prime Minister has designated Honorable Mohammed Salim Abbas Mahmoud as Member and Chairperson of the Parliamentary Committee on the Independent Commission Against Corruption. And on 19th March 2024, in accordance with the provisions of paragraph 9A of Standing Order 70, the Committee of Selection met under my chairpersonship and nominated Honorable Sanjit Kumar Nakshedi, PPS, as member to serve the Public Accounts Committee. Thank you for your attention.
Papers have been laid. Questions?
Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir. My question is addressed to Dr. the Honorable Vice Prime Minister, Minister of Local Government and Disaster Risk Management. Whether in regard to cases of flooding in mainland Mauritius during the passage of Cyclone Belal, he will A, state the number of households having suffered damage across the island as a result thereof, B, state the drainage works effected in Port Louis since then to date, and C, table a copy of the evacuation plan for the capital city.
Mr. Speaker, sir, as a foremost, I would like to express our deepest sympathy on behalf of the Government of Mauritius and myself to all those households and persons who have suffered due to the flooding caused during the passage of Cyclone Belal. I wish also to thank the Leader of the Opposition for this PNQ, as it gives me the opportunity to inform the House of the different measures and action being taken by the government following the passage of the Cyclone Belal in January 2024. It is a known fact that climate change has increased the frequency, intensity, and severity of natural hazard leading to disasters, especially for small and vulnerable small island developing states like Mauritius. There is now a higher prevalence of extreme weather events, such as flash floods, rainfall variability, and intense tropical cyclone, locally as well as in other countries. As you are all aware, Brazil was also subject to extreme weather conditions during the last weekend. It experienced flooding, which unfortunately caused 20 casualties. Mr. Speaker, sir, indeed, this growing concern is being felt in the Republic of Mauritius as several weeks of livelihood are being disturbed by this impact. This concern is further exacerbated as we are influenced by large ocean atmospheric interaction, and our country is located along the path of tropical cyclones. The impact of the accelerated climate change on tropical cyclone is leading to more threatening and unpredictable situations all around the world. Mr. Speaker, sir, on Saturday, the 13th of January 2024, a tropical depression evolving to the northwest of Saint-Brando had intensified into a moderate tropical storm, which was named Belal at 04 hours on the same day by the Mauritius Meteorological Station. The first cyclone bulletin for the cyclone warning class 1 for Mauritius was issued at 10 hours 10 on Saturday, 13th of January 2024. The moderate tropical storm was centered at about 580 kilometers to the north-northwest of Mauritius and was moving towards the southwest at a speed of 13 kilometers per hour. And on that trajectory, Belal was expected to approach our region and represented a potential threat to our island. The National Emergency Operation Command, NEOC, was subsequently activated to level 1 at 12:35 hours on the same day. The following action...
Mr. Speaker, sir, the House has been in recess for 3.5 months. Can I ask the Minister, the question is very specific, reply specifically, especially since we have very limited time. Is that too much to ask after 3.5 months of recess?
The Speaker is trying to explain about how the cyclone developed and how the situation developed, Mr. Speaker, sir. Says the National Emergency Operation Command was subsequently activated to level 1 at 12:35 hours on the same day. The following action was taken by the NEOC. Coordination with the Ministry, because they're all important, Mr. Speaker, that's why I have to mention them. Coordination with the Ministry of Health and Wellness for the timely issue of relevant press communique for dialysis patient, senior citizen distribution of methadone, precautionary advice on health-related issues and other matters. Coordination with Ministry of Social Security, Social Integration and Social Security and National Solidarity for opening of evacuee centers. Persons with disabilities, senior citizens with reduced mobilities who are requiring evacuee centers facilities would be dealt with on a case-to-case basis by the NEOC and Ministry of Health and Wellness. Yes, and I think, I get the impression this was not important. All these about the issue of health, about social security to look after all the people, all the evacuees, these are not important for some members. On Saturday, 13th of January, 2024, at 20:10 hours, Belal had intensified into a severe tropical storm and continued to move towards the southwest at a speed of 20 kilometers per hour. Cyclone warning class 1 was maintained. On Sunday, 14th of January 2024, at 04 hours, the severe tropical storm was centered about 460 kilometers to the northwest of Mauritius and was moving towards the south-southwest at a speed of 20 kilometers per hour. Belal was located slightly further west than forecasted but continued to approach our region and was still considered as a potential threat. Cyclone warning class 1 was maintained. However, NEOC, despite class 1, was upgraded to level 2 at 7:30 hours. At 16 hours, the Mauritius Meteorological Service had highlighted that Belal had slowed down slightly during the last hours and was moving towards the south at a speed of 14 kilometers. It was then situated at about 410 kilometers, almost to the west of Mauritius.
Would the Minister like me to read the question, Vice Prime Minister, read the question to you again?
You have read the question, I've heard it. Because this is...
Already 7 minutes have gone.
Now, you have your time. I think leave the speaker to give you your time. What I'm trying to say is that I have to give this preamble, Mr. Speaker, sir, so that we understand how the situation developed and what was the issues involved. At 16 hours, the Mauritius Meteorological Services had highlighted that Belal has slowed down slightly during the last hours and was moving towards the south at a speed of 14 kilometers. It was then situated at about 410 kilometers, almost to the west of Mauritius. Subsequently, warning class 1 was maintained. Then, National Crisis Committee met for a second time at 17 hours, and the then director of the MMS informed the committee that the cyclone warning would be waived on Monday, 15th of January 2024 at 04 hours, should Belal maintain his present trajectory. However, at 22:10 hours, according to MMS, Cyclone Belal had started to track towards the southeast and was centered at about 360 kilometers almost to the west of Mauritius and was moving at a speed of 10 kilometers an hour. Cyclone warning class 1 was maintained. No major incident was reported at that time. On Monday, 15th of January 2024, at 4 a.m., Belal was centered 310 kilometers to the west of Mauritius and continued to move in the southeast direction at a speed of 10 kilometers. Cyclone warning class 1 was maintained. It was then decided that despite class 1, that all education institutions, including nurseries, remained closed. The NEOC was upgraded to level 2 at 07:30 hours. At 10:10 hours, Belal started to track more eastward and was moving towards the east-southeast at a speed of 12 kilometers. A cyclone warning class 2 was issued at 10:10. Close monitoring was still ongoing. A third National Crisis Committee was held at 11:30 hours to analyze the situation. NEOC was subsequently upgraded to level 3 at 13:25 hours, and the local emergency operation command was therefore activated. Based on the prevailing weather and intensity, a cyclone warning class 3 was issued at 13:30 hours. A curfew order was issued which was valid for 20 hours from 20 hours to 12 hours on Tuesday, 16th of January 2024. The class 3 cyclone warning was maintained up to the 16th of January 2024 at 01:10 hours. Mauritius was under the influence of cyclonic condition with gusts exceeding 120 kilometers per hour on Tuesday, 16th of January 2024. Subsequently, a cyclone warning class 4 was issued at 01:10 hours and maintained up to 10:10 hours. A safety bulletin was issued at 10:10 hours, and subsequently the curfew order lapsed at 14:10 hours. Based on the recommendation of the NCC, all cyclone warning for Mauritius were waived on Tuesday, 16th of January 2024. Mr. Speaker, as regard to part A of the question, I wish to inform that, according to Police Department records, 4,365 disaster assistance forms have been issued. That's number one. Secondly, as to part B of the question, various drainage work have been undertaken by the Municipal Council of Port Louis, National Development Unit, and Road Development Unit at different locations. The ongoing work within the region of Port Louis comprises of the following: drain work at Raoul Rivet, raising of wall along Ruisseau du Pouce, demolition of covered slab along Pouce Stream from Desroses to Brown-Sequard Street, construction of second outlet at Codon to increase the conveyance capacity of its stormwater towards the sea. In addition, future work envisaged are as follows: construction of cutoff at Monron, drain work at Lodge Kirchner Street, upgrading of Russell Bridge at Canal d'Aïeux. Besides the structural work, the cleaning and desilting of rivers and canals within the jurisdiction of Port Louis has been carried out as follows: cleaning of Ruisseau Créole and cut-off drain along Signal Mountain completed. Desilting of Rivière Latanier over a stretch of 8.5 kilometers. Cleaning work at La Paix Stream and along Pouce Stream. The desilting of rivers is also envisaged at the following watercourse: desilting of River Saint-Louis and Canal d'Aïeux over a stretch of 8 kilometers is still at bid evaluation. Desilting of Rivulet Terre-Rouge at Sainte-Croix along a stretch of 1.2 kilometers. Desilting of work along Montory Stream along a 2.5 kilometer stretch. As to part C of the question, I wish to inform the House that there is a protocol in place for the evacuation of the city center of Port Louis, which has been tested on many occasions, including a traffic diversion plan by the police. The purpose of this protocol is to protect and save lives and property based upon the concept of vertical evacuation. Diversion plan by the police to prevent traffic flow towards Port Louis, road closure by police to prevent traffic flow towards flooded areas within Port Louis city center, close to the Ruisseau Créole, Ruisseau du Pouce, La Poudrière Stream, Canal Anglais. D, to maintain access to critical services like hospital, line barrack, and government house. E, evacuation route from Port Louis wherever applicable. And F, action by other stakeholders. In addition to the protocol, as a preparedness measure for the current cyclonic and rainy season, a tabletop exercise was carried out on 28th of November 2023 with the involvement of 50 stakeholders, out of which 20 were physically present in the National Emergency Operation Command, whilst coordination was maintained with the rest. I wish to add that various measures have been taken by this government and the National Flood Management Program for the construction and rehabilitation of drains by different implementing agencies. The Land Drainage Authority has been set up under the Land Drainage Act in 2017 in order to coordinate all drainage work and to ensure its effective implementation. In addition thereto, the cleaning and desilting of rivers is also being undertaken to mitigate any impact of riverine flooding.
Mr. Speaker, the Vice Prime Minister has taken 10 minutes, the first 10 minutes to answer a question which I never asked, and therefore I would request your indulgence that additional time may be given, as he suggested, for supplementary questions. We all know, Mr. Speaker, that at the end of the week, there's supposed to be another cyclone, Cyclone Gaman, which is going to come directly, apparently, on Mauritius. So citizens of Mauritius are in awe, are in dread of what is to happen. My first question is this, concerning damage to households. You replied saying the police were called or something to 4,600 houses. That is not the question that I asked. I asked how many houses have been damaged. You know, apparently, how many cars have been damaged. But are you able to tell this House how many houses? Did you do a survey to see what is the loss, sometimes tremendous loss to householders following the cyclone?
Mr. Speaker, sir, this work, that's why I mentioned that the police had issued 4,375 disaster assistance. That's why I mentioned it, because most people report to the police station when damage is done to their house. That's why I mentioned it. And from then on, we know how many houses are affected, or how many people lost their belongings or whatever, or food or whatever, and then act accordingly.
Do you have it district-wise? Do you have it around the island, this 4,300 houses?
This is island-wide.
Can you table that?
I've just mentioned it is 4,300. I've just got the figure. I'm just mentioning to you.
District-wise, per district.
No, I don't have the district-wise.
Can you perhaps do that? That would be interesting.
I'll have to inquire with the police.
They also the Honourable Vice Prime Minister.
Minister, Deputy, Vice Prime Minister, address the chair.
Now, I'd like to ask the Honourable Vice Prime Minister this question. Car owners, 1,800 of them, usually richer people, have been surveyed, have been granted compensation to the tune of 200 million rupees or more from public funds for the damage to their cars. Much poorer people have had their houses, their appliances, their furniture, their clothes sometimes completely destroyed and taken away by floodwaters. Why is it that you have not surveyed these people, and especially why is it that government has not found the money to reimburse and compensate these poor householders?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I've explained earlier that we have about 4,375 people has contacted the police. And now the government has acted on this. A lot of people who has lost, they have damaged houses, or the food has been, their furniture has been affected, they have lost their food, they have been helped. By Social Security, they has helped. A cyclone, as you are aware, Mr. Speaker, sir, as you are aware, a cyclone allowance of 250 rupees per person per night at the evacuation centers. And even that you were not giving, so you can't talk. Yes, that even you were not giving, so you can't talk. A food allowance of 250 rupees per damaged foodstuff per person per day for a maximum of 3 days upon presentation of the police memo. And so far, 392 families has been helped, and food allowance has been given to 3,709 families to the tune of 6.4 million rupees. Food pack has been given to people who has lost their food, Mr. Speaker. As of today, 3,850 people has been given food pack, Mr. Speaker, sir. So the government is working, Mr. Speaker, sir, to provide these people who has lost during the cyclone.
I'd like to remind the Honourable Vice Prime Minister that when there was flooding in 2013, upwards of 100,000 rupees plus vouchers, plus gifts, were given to each household having had a loss from the flooding. I'd like to ask the Honourable Minister again. My question is not about 1,000 rupees given per family. My question is not about 2,000 rupee hamper given, now still being given to families. My question is about these families who have lost refrigerators, washing machines, who have lost their clothes, who have lost their furniture made of plywood, who have had their houses destroyed. I will take you to my constituency with pleasure. These people have lost hundreds of thousands of rupees. Now, we paid 100,000 rupees 10 years ago. It's worth 200,000 rupees today. What have you done except from the crumbs that you have given householders? And obviously, the cake has gone to the car owners. This is, Mr. Speaker, a question of putting cars first, putting people last.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I've explained, we have so many people who has gone to the police. We're still investigating, Mr. Speaker. I've explained that. I've mentioned.
Mr. Speaker, I reiterate, the Minister has been incapable of telling us what compensation has been given to people who have lost household appliances, who have lost furniture, who have lost their clothes, who have had their houses sometimes destroyed. What have you done for these category of people?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I've explained 4,375 people have contacted the police. So all of them has not been given any allowance yet or any. So we'll have to wait. Only 3,000, according to the information that I've got, 3,850 families has been helped so far. So we have to wait and see, Mr. Speaker.
Help with 1,000 rupees and with hampers of 2,000 rupees. Be clear about this. I want to come now to a particular problem, even worse. the cabinet communique mentions 83 people under the social register of Mauritius. These are the poorest people in Mauritius, 83 of them. They were supposed to be surveyed and they were supposed to be compensated. Does the Honorable Vice Prime Minister know that not one single of these families, and I have contacted a few of them, not any of the families I have contacted have received any help from the NEF after 2 months?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'll explain. The Ministry of Social Security is looking after that, after these people. So I've mentioned about nearly a lot of people hasn't been contacted yet. So the work is ongoing. So it's a Ministry of Social Security that is looking after that. It's not the Ministry of Local Government. I would like to make that clear.
It seems from the press that the CEO of the FSC has been fired because he was not able to compensate more than 200 vehicle owners. Don't you think there's a problem here when that person is fired and yet nobody here takes any action? I'd like to move on, Mr. Speaker, to drainage. Now, I visited, you should take care of this. I visited Montagne des Signaux, Signal Mountain, yesterday. And I will circulate to you a video of the drain, of the flooding coming from Signal Mountain right down La Bourdonnais Street, Desros Street, and all the adjacent streets during 15th of January. Now, I visited that place yesterday, and I was shocked to see that there has been absolutely no work done on the drainage system since that date to now, 2 months, and that the same thing is likely to happen as happened before and has happened under 2015. The only work that has been done is some sort of small wall like that to embellish the region. Why? You are an MP for Port Louis. Why hasn't the work been done in an emergency, extreme emergency? And I will post later on and give you the river that falls, that comes from the mountain down to La Bourdonnais Street, floods La Bourdonnais Street, and down Desros Street. Why hasn't this been done?
Mr. Speaker, sir, firstly, I would like to mention, before the cyclonic weather, a lot of work are done. Number one, the work doesn't start after the cyclone only. The work is start before the cyclonic weather in August and September the year before. After the cyclone, a lot of damage were done to the beds of these rivers. Now, please let me answer, please. A lot of damage has been done. A lot of silt has collected, and not in one river only. In so many rivers, not across Port Louis only, across the island. And this government, when that happened, we have made the site visit, not just local government, be it RDA, LDA, NDU, we have gone around, we have had to look and see the problem. And now, some of the work of very major work, Mr. Speaker, sir, can we just go like that and give the contract like that? No. We have to do it tender. We have to make an evaluation. And then we award. So because I've got a list of projects where the work has been done and are being done, Mr. Speaker. It's not only one place I'm talking about. I've got a list of projects here. You know what I mean? So it's not a question of saying and taking one site and saying the work has not done. Because we have to look as a country as a whole, not just in Port Louis, country as a whole. And I think the work is being done across the island, obviously in Port Louis as well, but across the island as well. But it takes time. This work, a very major work, when you have the bed of the rivers which has been carried away. It's not just coming and cleaning and just removing the muds. It's not just removing the muds, because you have been there, I have been as well. I have been as well, Mr. Speaker, sir. I've visited these places. So, I know, I'm aware of the damage that has been done to the rivers. But some of them are major work. It takes time, Mr. Speaker, sir. That's why, unfortunately, it does take time if you want to do the work properly.
Who asked the question about the bed of the rivers? The question is about Signal Mountain. The overflowing from Signal Mountain right down, and you will see from there, from everything from Signal Mountain, like a river, into La Bourdonnais Street. Huge amounts of water. And the question is, the drains at Signal Mountain need to be urgently, like today, they need to be rehabilitated, increased. Otherwise, I will take you there if you want later on, so that you can see clearly that this is putting in danger thousands of people working and living in Port Louis, and all the cars that have been destroyed recently will again be destroyed if there's another flooding in Port Louis. That is the importance of the question.
Mr. Speaker, as I've explained, we don't have only one place to look. No, you may be laughing, but it's a fact. There are so many trains, so many rivers, so many places where we have problems. A lot of work has been done, are being done, and will be done.
Mr. Speaker, now, I have got no answer to any of my questions yet. We now go to the evacuation plan. Now, surely, the Honourable Minister, Honourable Vice Prime Minister will agree that if there is some sort of evacuation plan, I work in Newton Street, all of us here should know what is the evacuation plan. Should we go under here? Should we go there, up there? We need to know what is your evacuation plan. This is why I asked you to table the evacuation. I don't need a tabletop, which anyway did not work in November because in January you saw the disaster of your evacuation plan. So I'm asking, what is the new evacuation plan that you may have so that people like me and everybody else are able to evacuate safely in case of another flooding, which will surely happen because of climate change?
Mr. Speaker, I've given in my answer that we have a protocol. During heavy rain, the police try to cordon off where we know where there are flood-prone areas. We know that. We have it from LDA. Like we know, for example, in Port Louis, the lowest point would be around Poudrier Street, maybe at Cordon. The police would cordon these areas and would divert the traffic, would stop the people from coming there and divert traffic. So I've just explained all this. This has been done during Belal, the Cyclone Belal, and it was done after Cyclone Belal as well. This protocol was put in place, Mr. Speaker, to close flood-prone areas to prevent this kind of thing happening again, Mr. Speaker. So we have it, the protocol, it's done, we have put it in place, and it's been working, Mr. Speaker.
1,800 cars damaged, hundreds and thousands of houses damaged. Thank you for your evacuation plan, which obviously is a total disaster. I'd like to ask Honourable Minister, on his own website, where I'm sure you're very familiar with, he states that as far as flood-prone areas are concerned, I'd like the House to listen to this. It says 480 sites have been identified as flood-prone, of which 56 sites are considered to be life-threatening and crucial. This flood-prone area map is secret, it's kept by the government and has not been published. Don't you think that if there are 56 sites which are life-threatening, the population of Mauritius ought to know where these sites are, whether the houses are located on these sites, and as far as the 480 other sites are concerned, don't you think the population of Mauritius, who paid for the report, should have access to this flood-prone area report?
Mr. Speaker, sir, we know where the flood-prone area is, and we are working on it. We have been working on it. We have been working on it. The question has been answered before, exactly. So it's not, we know them, the work are being done, Mr. Speaker. So.
Time over. Honourable members, the table had been at BA. Will be replied.
Voilà, strictement 30 minutes accordées par le speaker, alors que le leader de l'opposition, Xavier Duval, typé enchaîne une question supplémentaire très pertinente. Xavier Duval fin met l'accent beaucoup l'eau la case qui n'est endommagée. Il demande au ministre Asnou, il peut dire gouvernement peut donner une compensation à ben dimoun qui l'auto de véhicule fin est endommagé, il peut dire qu'il y a une enveloppe de 200 millions qui peut donner, donc FSI peut venir en aide, peut compenser ben du monde qui ont le taux endommagé. Il dit, mais qui fait papier des dommages ben du monde qui ont la case fin endommagé, zot meubles, zot linge, frigidaire, machine à laver fin endommagé, qui fait gouvernement papier des dommages, ça ben du monde. Il dit, dans la plupart des cas, c'est ben du monde qui misère, qui pauvre, qui finit sérieusement affecté par les inondations. Le ministre Snow répond que le ministère de la Sécurité sociale donne 250 roupies par nuit pour un maximum de 3 jours et il y a une compensation qui donne une food allowance à 3700 familles et il y a une food pack qui finit donner. Mais le leader d'opposition, il peut insister, il peut dire ça c'est une allowance qui est habitué donner quand il y a une inondation. Il peut dire qu'il fait un survey à such pour connaître qui l'étendue de dégâts, combien de familles concernées, combien de lacages concernées, et qui fait pas une compensation pareil comme un pédone à ben du monde qui ont l'auto fin endommagé, surtout dans la rue La Poudrière. Une autre question de Xavier Duval, il dit qu'hier, les finales visitent Montagne des Signaux, et il dit qu'il est choqué pour constater qu'il plus que des mois après inondation dans le cyclone Belal, peine d'après lui aucun travaux qui finit faire au niveau de ben drain. Lydia, il trouve ça choquant parce qu'il nous tout connaît qui finit arrivé le 15 janvier, dès là, une descend, un gros torrent d'eau, finit descendre depuis Montagne des Sillons, il finit descendre la rue Abandonnée, la côte radio plus située, il finit descendre et même jusqu'à la rue La Poudrière, finit une grosse inondation. Xavier Duval peut dire qui c'est qui est arrivé le 15 janvier pour arriver certainement encore et il dit qu'il y a un week-end qui peut venir là pour le week-end pascal, nous pouvons gagner un cyclone qui probablement capable de directement le Maurice. Il peut dire qu'il fait plus que des mois après, pas fin faire mais travaux de drain au niveau de la montagne des Signaux. Le ministre Snow peut dire que le leader de l'opposition peut concentrer le site alors qu'il n'a plaisir les autres sites fin commence à faire mes travaux et puis encore faire mes travaux mais le leader de l'opposition insisté pour dire qu'il travaux, le montagne des signaux, est très important et il réduit les choqués pour trouver qu'il pas fait rien, alors qu'il ça dès là quand il descend, il est capable de menacer la vie de milliers de personnes qui travaillent et qui vivent à Port-Louis, donc surtout à la rue Abandonnée et ben ruelle qui trouve à proximité de la rue Abandonnée. Le leader de l'opposition aussi demandé après ce qui est arrivé le 15 janvier, est-ce que le ministère de Snow a un nouveau plan d'évacuation et s'il est capable de table ça plan-là. Donc, pas fin table aucun plan. Le ministère Snow peut dire qu'il y a un protocole qui est établi et je peux revisiter ce protocole-là après ce qui est arrivé donc dans le 15 janvier. Mais ça veut dire qu'il y a surtout des gens qui habitent pour lui, qui travaillent dans pour lui, je suis supposé au courant de sa protocole-là, de sa plan évacuation-là, pour que je connaisse qui je suis supposé faire quand il y a une situation pareille. Le ministre peut dire qu'il y a un plan de diversion que la police peut mettre en place, et c'est qu'il appelle une vertical evacuation, sans qu'il lui donne un détail concret comment ça pour fonctionner. Et Xavier Duval dit que le website de ce ministère de Snow, il mentionné qu'il y a 480 sites qui sont très vulnérables à une inondation. 480 sites. Et il dit de ces 480 là, il y a 56 places, 56 sites côte et il y a une inondation qui est capable de menacer la vie du monde. Life threatening, donc site qui life threatening, il dit que 56 là-dedans jugé très très sérieux, il dit que la population est en droit connaît qui ça 56 sites là, il dit si le ministre est capable table ça l'information là. Le ministre Soub dit qu'il connaît qui ça 56 sites là, mais nous, la population, donc, nous pas connaît, et c'est ça que le leader de l'opposition peut insister pour connaître qui ça une place qui très vulnérable qui est capable de menacer la vie du monde quand il y a une inondation. Voilà, Jagdish, pour l'essentiel de cette PNQ. C'est une PNQ qui reste d'actualité des mois après le passage du cyclone Belal et surtout les inondations chaotiques qui finissent le 15 janvier. Là, un cyclone peut venir prochainement. Donc, la question reste pertinente, l'intérêt pour ce thème, pour ce sujet reste toujours très pertinent. C'est une question d'actualité et malheureusement, nous n'avons pas beaucoup d'éléments de réponse de la part du ministre Osnou.
Oui, une question d'intérêt public parce que avec le changement climatique, comment le ministre il expliquait au départ très longuement, donc Maurice et beaucoup les autres pays restent toujours exposés, continuellement restent exposés. Alors là, ce qui est important, c'est qu'il y a des aspects. Le ministre Osnou peut dire qu'il y a 4375 familles qui font une forme d'assistance, comme Cyclone Allowance ou Food Allowance, et les autres, c'est un cas qui fait rapporter avec la police.
C'est un qui ne remplit forme.
Qui ne remplit forme avec la police. Ouais. C'est seulement ça. Mais par contre, et ce qui représente une somme d'environ 6 millions de roupies qui finit débourser quand je finirai dans un centre de refuge pendant 3 jours. Et donc, mais par contre, Xavier Duval peut faire remarquer qu'il 6 millions est dépensé pour un sinistré, mais 200 millions de roupies pour un propriétaire de véhicules qui finit endommagé, c'est-à-dire il y a 1800 propriétaires de véhicules qui concernés et qui finissent indemnisés. Alors là, Xavier Duval dit la part du gâteau, puis avec ça va un propriétaire là qui a les moyens, mais les miettes distribué à ban sinistré. Et donc, cette question de food allowance et de cyclone allowance ou flood allowance, alors les fins de tout, là, le ministre Osnou peut dire, c'est il renvoie la balle dans le camp du ministère de la Sécurité sociale. Pour dire, c'est le ministère de la Sécurité sociale qui besoin maintenant guetter, faire relever dans quelle direction besoin pour capable, donc, d'après le Social Register de Maurice, capable de connaître exactement qui est une famille plus vulnérable. Et Xavier Duval, c'est vrai, évoque une question qui, beaucoup de familles, pas fin rapportent à la police, des dégâts qui fin provoqués dans la case et qui ont perdu tout. À 4 bornes, pas seulement à 4 bornes, mais à travers le pays, et dans cette famille-là. Donc, je finis replier les autres même. Je pas final avec la police, je pas connais les procédures. Et Xavier Duval fait rappel qu'en 2013, quand il y a inondation, il y a une somme d'environ jusqu'à 100 000 roupies qui distribuées à ban sinistrés, également ban plantaire qui compensé. Ensuite, les travaux. Concernant les travaux, donc, Xavier Duval, il y a une visite montagne des Sioux, parce que d'abord, comme on connaît, nous-mêmes, nous là, dans sa région-là, les montagnes des Sioux, c'est même qui dit l'eau qui, de côté, pour lui, nord, qui amène une partie de l'eau. De l'autre côté, c'est Vallée-Pitot, la montagne du Pouce. Alors, Xavier Duval peut dire il y a urgence pour les travaux, sinon nous restons toujours exposés à un grave danger si n'en rien pas faire. Et le ministre Osnou peut dire bien fait une relevée, une évaluation, et guetter, pas capable d'allouer contrat trop vite, alors ça prend les temps. Maintenant, il peut mentionner également qu'il y a NDU, RDA, municipalité de Port-Louis, et donc peut faire des travaux, mais des travaux qui Xavier Duval peut dire par rapport à dégâts, donc pas capable d'attendre qu'il y a des survey bizarre fini, capable d'identifier les régions les plus affectées. Et ensuite, il y a, oui, c'est vrai, cette question de 56 l'endroit, régions du pays qui représentent un danger, une menace, donc à la vie publique. Alors, ça, flood prone areas, donc qui reste toujours d'un rapport, mais qui pas fait une run officielle. Alors, ça, aspect-là, Xavier Duval peut dire, il est nécessaire au moins que le public connaît. Ensuite, le plan d'évacuation, Xavier Duval, lui-même, il occupe les Newton Tower pour lui. Il n'est pas encore connu. Si jamais il un danger, côté pour aller, qui plan est non, est-ce qu'il peut dire une copie, s'il y a un evacuation plan, et le ministre n'a pas fait une réponse exactement là.
Même quand nous étions Jagdish, quand nous situés là, et c'est qu'ils nous trouvaient le 15 janvier, c'est assez traumatisant, et nous juste au bas là de Montagne Signaux, et quand nous trouve ça Tourando qui descend le 15 janvier là, il est vraiment fait pire. Donc, moi, pensez la question de Xavier Duval, il reste toujours pertinent. L'IPédia, d'après lui, qui n'a pas fait rien depuis le 15 janvier au niveau du montagne des signaux. Donc, il y a effectivement une urgence, étant donné qu'il nous-mêmes nous traverse par sa situation traumatisante là. Donc, il y a beaucoup de monde qui travaille à la rue d'Arbonnet, il y a beaucoup de maisons là, qui dans le voisinage de Radio Plus, et tout ça mène la casa vraiment à risque.
Oui, et ils descendent jusqu'à la rue La Poudrière qui représente encore plus grand danger, parce qu'il pas seulement l'îlot depuis Montagne-Signaux, mais du côté de Montagne-de-Pousse qui descendent vers pour lui, et là Xavier Duval, mais le ministre peut dire la police, ça me fait le cordon off, c'est-à-dire à un moment quand tu es en danger, puis annoncé, donc pour capable divertir le trafic. Mais c'est pas ça qu'ils avaient Duval peut demander.
Mais quand tu rentres deux PDC,
là c'est
diversion of traffic, tout ça, bon pas qu'on est qui
c'est le plan d'évacuation qui.
Donc nous pécons beaucoup le plan d'évacuation et pour revenir à ça 56 sites qui
threatening,
qui très dangereux, life threatening. Bon, je comprends, il y a un problème là-dedans, c'est que si rendre public ça mène site là. Ben, du monde qui est dans le terrain là-bas, automatiquement, le terrain dévalué. Maintenant, ça mène du monde qui habite là, cette région-là, les autres cas vivent dans une psychose. Cela dit, je pense que du monde aussi bien au courant qui s'amène site là. Donc, il y a un équilibre bien difficile pour faire. D'une part, il y a les autorités, gouvernement, à mon avis, il y a un devoir pour informer la population qui ça 56 sites là. Mais le problème, c'est qu'il y a des gens qui déjà habitent là-bas. Maintenant, qu'ils ont fait? Est-ce qu'ils ont vivre dans une psychose? Il y a des gens qui ont un terrain là-bas qui peut arriver. Donc, moi, pensée, à mon avis, c'est raison pour laquelle le gouvernement
pas
rendre public ça 56 sites là.
Il y en a 480 sites d'après en général, mais les 56 représentent le danger le plus grave, menaçant surtout les régions pour la vie publique. Donc, mais là, cet aspect-là, depuis longtemps, au moins 2-3 ans, qu'il le rapport infini et préparé, rédigé, mais seulement, peut-être il y a une campagne de sensibilisation qui vise faire autour de ban propriétaires, de ban occupants de cette région-là pour, préparer pour faire une évacuation, éventuellement, si vous êtes capable, commence à déplacer. Oui, et là, ça quand même, ça aspect de sécurité également, il ne faudrait pas, comme si rendre la situation alarmante pour ces habitants qui préoccupent ces régions, les régions mentionnées et ciblées.
Oui, pour ce début de séance, Jagdish, pas de gros accrochage. Moi, trouve speaker very cool.
Oui.
Il n'est pas fini dans grand chose à faire comme arbitre. Mais, je pensais rapidement, séance qu'on peut enchaîner pour bien une agitation. Et d'ailleurs, la séance d'aujourd'hui pas encore terminée. Hein? Ça n'a fait que commencer. Donc là, en ce moment, c'est Pravin Jagnat qui peut répondre à une question. Talib pour une PQ, un ministre qui peut répondre. Mais pour cette rentrée parlementaire, jusqu'à l'heure, je trouve, le speaker Fokia est vraiment
bon enfant,
very cool. Et député de l'opposition aussi, à part quelques remarques qui finissent faire à ministre Snou, pas fini dans un gros accrochage.
Oui, c'est un warming-up quand il y a un débat qui peut venir, certainement, mais quand même le speaker, il donne le ton, il explique dans quelles conditions il a droit recevoir une question ou non. Alors, pour 3 députés de l'opposition qui ont des questions pas fin acceptées, il cause également de Arvin Boulel sur question, et Sanjouman et Dr Faradomir, il dit là, ce bureau, et il a sa pouvoir de discrétion, ce pouvoir pour réséter une question s'il n'est pas, se trouvait pas recevable. Ensuite, il y a un hommage, comme on nous dit, à Éric Guimbaud, hommage du Premier ministre, donc Pravin Jagnnath, leader de l'opposition, il a associé lui, ensemble avec le gouvernement et le speaker ensemble pour présenter à la famille Guimbaud les sympathies, les condoléances du Parlement.
Voilà, donc merci Jagdish, merci à ben internaute, ben auditeur qui finissent suivre cette tranche spéciale, le Radio Plus, le défimédia.info. Si vous avez envie de continuer à suivre les travaux parlementaires, vous êtes capable de brancher la page Facebook du Défi Média ou bien la chaîne Télé Plus, YouTube. Merci.